All right, we're back again, and I'm gonna do this as another threading video, and the reason being, you can see I've got almost the exact same situation here. I have, since I had so much fun making those well, let's call them gland nuts for the 10-ton cylinders, I figured, you know, it was a good demo to show you my idea on threading, and I happened to see my two 25-ton Rams, and I said, well, you know what, since I'm geared up to do this, why don't I make a couple of these, again, I guess we'll call them gland nuts. Why don't we make a couple of these gland nuts for the 25s as well, because, you know, there again, it'll probably come in handy at some point when, you know, when I use these again to pull and, you know, make pullers or even pushers and such not. So here we are again, and the reason, there's one I've done already, and I've got another one just like it set up in the lathe, because I want to show you again my threading deal here. There's that one. Again, here's a, let's see, how are we going to do this? Boy, oh boy. All right, here's the thread on that one. Boy, terrible. I'm gonna have to learn this whole videography thing. But here's the thread on the one nut I've made, and I'm gonna make another one, and I've got it set up in the lathe over here, and I'm gonna bring you over there in a second. And the reason I wanted to do that is because these, the thread I made before on the other cylinders was a 14 thread, and I explained that on my lathe the lead screw is let me bring it back over here now. I explained that the lead screw on my lathe is a four thread lead screw, so therefore I had to leave the half nut engaged all the time on that one when I was doing that thread, because I couldn't, you know, again, like I said, I don't use a thread dial or anything over here, so I couldn't unengage it. These, however, these nuts that I'm making for the 25 tons, they are a here's the new nut that we're going to make now. There you go. It's all, I have it chucked in here, and the bore is square to the face. I have it bored on size. This is just a little something I do when I'm figuring out my threads, especially when I'm making the female thread. I always figure, and I write it right on the part there. I write the size I'm going to bore to. I write it right on there, because, you know, I'm not that bright a bulb. I'm easily confused, so I just write it right on there, and this way I know what it is. So this is bored. It's obviously faced on both sides, turned the outside, and I chamfered. Let's see. Yeah, I chamfer both sides when I'm threading something. If I'm doing a nut, it's just, you know, it just makes sense to me. You know, helps it out a little bit on the start. So it's bored, chamfered both sides. It's back in there. The bore, what I do is, that's another reason I write the number. I square the bore to one face, if that makes sense. In other words, when I bore it, I face it, and then like in this case, I write the number, my bore number, my dimension of bore on there. This way I know when I go to re-chuck it, I can indicate off this face for squareness to make sure that I know now I can put it back in because this face is square with this bore. Let me come back over here. These, again, these are the same as the other ones, just a little bit larger. You know, these are 25 tons, different heights, of course, but the same thing. This one was in, the threads on this one was in pretty good shape. This one, not so much. I had quite a bit of cleaning to do on these. It has these covers. These had these covers on them, but this one I guess was a little rough, so it didn't protect it too well. Although this one protected this pretty well. So anyway, I got these cleaned up anyway. Now let me get back to what I was saying again about the thread deal. These nuts are 12 threads per inch. So as I was explaining, with my lead screw being a 4 on the lathe, 12 is easily divisible by 4. So that means now, as I explained on the other video, when I'm threading this one, I need to pay no particular attention as to where I'm gonna, like I say, where I'm gonna drop this half nut in, out. What I can do whatever I want. I can't miss because, like I said, again, a 4 lead screw, a 12 thread, so 12 is divisible by 4 evenly. So again, no problem. Can't get hurt on this. I'm telling you, I could stand on my head. I could twist backwards, and anywhere I throw this thing in, it's going to work. I will not cross thread the piece. It's a virtual impossibility. And like I said, that is the reason, like I said, for no thread dial. It's just not necessary. In fact, maybe at the end of this, I'm going to give you a little commentary on that as to why I think, you know, that is the way it is for most people. So let me get this set up, and I'm going to try to give you a different angle, maybe a better angle on the cutting of this, if I can. Again, my videography skills here are not great. I'm learning, so please bear with me. So I'm going to try to set this up and maybe give you a little bit better perspective on seeing the actual thread being cut. All right, so hopefully I'll be back in a second here. Okay, here we are. I've put my scratch pass in on here, and I think you can see that. It's I checked it with my leaves. It's correct. Again, it's a 12 thread. So I checked it with my leaf here, and it's correct. Now, what I did was, as soon as I finished that thread, I just merely disengaged my half nut and cranked the carriage back by hand. So I guess what I'll do now is I'll start making passes, and again, like I said, I'm gonna let me move you off of here for a second. Okay, what I'm gonna do is here, let me get in here a little bit. There we go. Okay, there's the threads on the scratch pass there. And all I'm going to do, again, is I'm going to, every time I go 10 thousandths, I go 10 thousandths at a time. I'm going to go 10 thousandths on my cross slide here. I'm just going to come over to my compound, and I'm going to go, you know, 2.5, 3 thousandths advanced. And again, that's going to be into the thread. Same thing. Like I said, the only difference on this thread as opposed to the one I did the other day is that on this one, I'm disengaging. You see my half nut lever is disengaged, which is fine because, again, my lead screw is a 4, my thread's a 12. I can drop this thing in and out anywhere I'd like. So, in fact, let me engage this just so you don't think I'm funning with you here. There, it's engaged. And you can see the thing is walking along the carriage, right? Here's the handle. And I'm just going to pull it out now. So now it's not moving. And I'm going to run the carriage back and forth here. And like I said, I'm going to do this now. And I'll set this up. And I'll let you see that we're not going to cross thread anything here. Let me put some oil on here. And you can watch me. Alright, there's our oil. And I'll get this thing in here. Okay, so we're pretty close. I'm going to come down. I'm going to set my cross slide to 10 thousandths. Over here, you can see all my marks from where I did the other one. Now I'm going to come over here on my scratch thread. Like I say, I started 0 just to make it easy. I'm just going to advance this. 1, 2, let's give it 3 thousandths. Oil is in there. You can see the tool in relation to the piece. Again, we're nowhere here. I'm just anywhere, and I'm just going to take this nut here, the half nut, and I'm just going to arbitrarily engage it and come back up here, and you can see me cut the thread. You can see the thread cut, and then you can see when it's all done. I'll disengage the half nut as soon as it clears. Here, maybe you can actually see it as it comes around. See the tool come through. And we're through. Half nut disengaged. Gonna walk back my cross slide so that we're out of the way. And now I'm just gonna manually walk my carriage back. You can see that. I'm clear of my thread now. Shut the spindle off. Here we go. You knew I had a scratch thread in there. Let me just blow out these chips here. Okay, and let's see. Can I get this to actually zoom in without screwing up my focus here? Just to show you, there you go. Just to show you that I cut on the same path I cut last time. So I didn't cross thread anything. Everything's going good. I'm cutting a pretty good thread here. Okay, like I said, no point in having you endure all it. Well, I'll set you up on a tripod here and let you see a couple more passes, and then I'll bring you back when I'm finishing. But I just wanted to explain that, you know, that really does work, and and that there's no, no kidding here. I'm not trying to. There's no trickery. All right, so I'll cut back in a little bit. Okay. Try to get this, there you go. All right, we're gonna make another pass now. Nuts engaged. Well, to clear. As the tool clears. Okay, half nut disengaged. Back walk, cross slide, get myself out. Okay, get ready for my next pass. Advance 10 thousandths. Advance the cross slide, 2.5. Make my marks. See, we're cutting same path every time. Half nuts clear, the tool's clear, half nuts disengaged. Walk back my cross slide, walk back my carriage. Okay. Advance myself 10. Back. Advance my cross slide, another 1, 2.5, 3 on this one. I'm going to make myself a little mark on there. And we'll put a little oil. Close, engage the half nut, and here we go, we're cutting. Cutting, same path, cutting, gonna watch, wait for my tool to clear. Tool is cleared, half nut's disengaged, walk back the cross slide, manually walk back the carriage. Okay, I guess you got the idea. I'll bring you back in when when I get close to the finish. Okay, I've made a few more passes through. Blown out the chips using one of the actual cylinders to check this with. And let's see what we got here. I think we should be getting pretty close. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, again, that's going, but it's kind of tight. I'm going to want to make another. I think we'll take another pass, and then we'll try it again. Because again, I want these loose. I don't want these threads are no bargain here as far as the condition of them, and I don't want any chance of galling or anything like that. I want these wobbly on here. So again, there's plenty. It's a fine thread and there's plenty of surface contact, so I wouldn't be worried about it letting go. I'm sure it's designed to take the full bearing that the cylinder can produce, so I have no fear of that. So like I said, I want these a little wobbly. You can see what happens to these threads from bouncing around in the compartment of the truck and stuff like that, even though they got those covers on them. So I'm gonna make at least another pass, and then we'll come back and check it again. I really do like to gauge everything with the actual pieces they're going to be used on. So I'll bring it back again after we get it a little closer. Now, as I was explaining the other day, these are going to be finishing passes from here on. So what I'm going to do now is I'll probably, on my cross slide, I'll probably be only going maybe 3 thousandths instead of 10. I'll be going maybe 3 or 4 thousandths on my cross slide, and I'll only be moving that compound again in towards the thread, maybe a thousandth and a half as I go. So, because these are finishing passes, and that will be sufficient for that. Okay, made another pass there, finishing pass through there, and we'll try again. Let's see. Heavy, this sucker. Alright, there we go. That's better, we're going. Alright, a little wobble there. Let's see what we got here. Get this tool out of my way so I don't cut the back of my hand on it. Alright. This is pretty good. Pretty smooth. Not at all. Yeah, alright, let's see. We're pretty much right to the bottom there. I like it. Yeah, there's not, you know what? There's really no discernible wobble in it though. I want some wobble in this thing. Like I say, I don't want a chance in these threads, and I don't want to have to fight with this thing. I want it to go on easy. I want a little wobble, so I am going to make another small cut. I think I'll go maybe 2 thousandths, and that should probably make it just what I want. Yeah, I'm going to make one more. So I got a pretty good finish on the thread. They're finishing up quite nicely. So I think I'm just going to go 2/1000ths on my cross slide, move my compound just ever so slightly, maybe 1/1000th or so, and that'll probably be it. We'll see what happens. I'll bring you back after that. Okay, we've got another pass that we took, finishing pass. I think that should pretty much be it now. I'm going to fit this, and I think though, oh yeah, I think we're going to be just good now. Much better. Like I say, I really do not want to fight with this thing, because most of the time I'm using this sort of thing in the field, and again, I don't want to mess with it. Either I may have to weld these nuts to something or whatever, or even if not, even if I'm just using it as a base of something, or just to pull. I just don't want to fight with it. So yeah, nice. We got some wobble in here. Oh yeah, excellent, all the way to the end. Much better. There we go. Little wobble. Excellent. Very smooth. Just good. Okay. Back this out. We are done with this. So that's the end of that. That's the second one there. That's just good. All done. Get this sucker out of here. Man, these are fine threads. Okay. Now, let's see. Let me kick this in the neutral and clean this up a little bit. Again, let me take you off of here, and I want to show you inside that. Again, this is no crap here. These really are acceptable threads here. Okay, there's the threads. I think you'll agree, most people I think would agree, that's a pretty respectable looking thread there. Nothing's tore, nothing's gold off of it, Again, that's, I'm thinking that's a, pretty respectable set of threads on there. So, actually, let me pop this out of here. How do I do this one-handed? Boy, that sucks. Okay, there we go. And let's walk this over to our cylinder here. And we'll try it on this one as well, but should be just fine. Yeah, another rag here. Okay. A little oil there. All right. And there we go. So we got that, and we got that nut. So now we have a nut for each one. These are, like I said, I'm pretty sure these. Yeah, no, these are 25-ton rams. One's this one is what, an SPX power team, I think, and this one is a simplex, I think. The only difference is the length. Is the length of the stroke on here. Well, we got this one's about a 10, I guess it'd be considered, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is about about an 8. Reading double-sided ruler. This one's about an 8, and I guess that one'd be considered about a 10. So anyway, that's that. So we've made 2 of these, and like I said, I don't think there's anything to be embarrassed about on either one of them. Everything seems to be pretty good there. And there again, that's my whole threading thing. Why don't I include just a small comment here? Let me go back over to the lathe here for this. Again, my philosophy on threading, the way I thread, without the dial, the fact that my compound is set on 90 all the time, and I don't move it. I advance the compound. I leave the compound on 90, and I just advance it. And again, I don't know again, I don't have the benefit of any formal training or knowledge to fall back on. Again, I go 10,000 at a time. I can't think of the last time I had to do a production run of threaded parts. So, as I said in the other video, you know, what's the damn race? You know what I mean? It's just not necessary as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, if you've been watching my videos this far, you know I have pretty definitive opinions about things, and this is no different. Again, without the, you know, again, like I said, this is the lathe I really like to thread on. And if I could just make a little comment about the fact that I don't have a thread dial on here, I don't run a thread dial on that lathe over there either. And again, most of the threading I do is on this lathe. This is a TOS, by the way, a TOS lathe. It's got about a 20-inch swing. It's rated in millimeters, I guess, but it's essentially a 20-inch swing, and I guess I've got I think I got about a 6-foot bed length between centers here, and I'm pretty well equipped with this. I have a steady rest, of course, a factory steady rest, and whatnot. Again, as I said in the other video, I do have a threading dial and all of that, and that's just dandy. But like I said, let me make a little comment here, especially about the threading. Let me wait before I segue. Before I get back to that, the reason I like threading on this lathe is the fact that it's got a clutch, you know, and it's nice to be able to cut out, cut in. You know, in fact, let me come over here and engage the spindle here again, and you can see with my clutch here, you can see it's able to just gently, you know, you can just crawl, you know, ever so slightly that chuck, you know what I mean? You can stop it on a dime and this and that. So again, I really do like threading on this particular, most of the threads I cut are on this lathe. The comment I wanted to make, especially getting back to the thread dial thing, because of what I showed you here today, again, I've had a lot of years to think about this. I don't know, naturally, every thread, this, that, the other, but I'm guessing the reason that most people, most guys that cut threads, again, with the 29.5, 30-degree thing with the shit and compound swing, whatever, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then they're staring at that thread dial, and they're twisting the carriage, and with the one hand they're hitting the half nut with the other one, they're twisting that cross slide out. Oh, fluid movement, this and that. Here's my opinion on that. Based on what I've just showed you about the lead screw being able to be engaged virtually anywhere when you're cutting a thread that's a multiple or divisible by your lead screw, well, guess what? Here's again, this is my opinion. I don't, of course, I don't necessarily have any math or science to back this up, but I'm betting that most of the times these guys, when they're doing all this fancy handwork, cutting in and out, and they're banking solely on that thread dial, and they're throwing the half nut lever in, throwing the half nut lever out. My opinion would be that most of the time they're hitting their number on that thread dial, be it an odd or an even or a blank or whatever the hell it were, you know. Again, I've done it. I've done it. Most of the time, without even knowing, maybe it's already a foregone conclusion that they're gonna hit the right one, because again, if you're threading something that is a multiple or divisible by your lead screw, you can put that thing in on any mark. Any mark on your thread dial would be the equivalent of what I'm showing you here, what I just showed you here. So I wonder if it's not that some of the time they're just getting lucky by engaging that half nut on those marks on the thread dowel, and it's not necessarily the mark they intended, but again, it becomes a foolproof operation, again, based largely on what I'm explaining here, that the lead screw is in relation to the half nut. Again, if you're cutting threads that are multiples of your lead screw or divisible out of your lead screw, doesn't matter where the half nut goes in, and subsequently what some little dopey thing on here, which is running along your lead screw, is telling you. So that's my opinion on that. And again, that's my whole thing on threading. Maybe we'll do more of these as time goes by, and you know, I'm really enjoying this stuff, this videoing and stuff. I'm going to have to learn a whole hell of a lot more about it, but anyway, so that's it, and that's my comment. It's not intended to be harsh or pointed at anyone. It's just I just wonder if that's not the case. So just a little theory, you know, again, along my whole lines of bumblebee engineering, bumblebee mentality, as I like to call it. So that's it. So we've created our 2 extra nuts for our 25-ton rams there. Oh, and like I said, I may do a video on rebuilding that the 10-ton. I got 2 of them to do, actually, the Enerpac rams. So as always, thanks for watching, and as some famous guy once said, everybody polka. See you later.